Hey family, for those of you joining us virtually, how are you guys doing? I am excited to connect with you during this long quarantine. I'm pleased to welcome you to A Social for Justice. Live, love, laugh, and learn. My name is Kashonda Marche. I am the founder of Creative on Purpose, a community organization whose sole mission is to serve the underserved. And I'll be your host for this incredible event. No matter where you're joining us from, I want you to sit back, relax, maybe grab some food, a drink or two, and join me for a discussion about the U.S. criminal justice system and what it means to be an advocate for and the effects of COVID-19. With all this information being thrown at us from every which way, I'm eager to facilitate a conversation with our peers, learn from one another, and connect with each other as we come out of this lockdown. Make sure you drop in the chat where you're joining us from. We'd like to know. You can also drop your social media handles so that you can network with each other and our panelists. There's so much in store for you. We have a panel of strong, inspirational men walking in their purpose. They are educators, they are leaders, community activists, and artists. We'll even get to see a live performance from artists Yashua and Tekka performing their hit record, Dying to Live. We'll also get to watch the concept trailer of the highly anticipated docuseries, Obstruction of Justice, The True Meaning. We may even get to hear a little bit about this docuseries as we have Tyler Bell Santucci joining us as one of the panelists. By the way, if you've entered our raffle, be sure to stay engaged throughout the show. You never know when we'll be announcing our winners. We are excited. We're giving out $100. And during this time of financial strain, somebody could use that money. We want to give a big shout out to Creative on Purpose and the team for sponsoring this event. We are not only pleased, but honored to have contributed to such a necessary cause. Now, without further delay, let's meet our panelists. Let's welcome Tyler Bell Santucci, Bermuda native, is a passionate writer and photographer. After relocating to the United States in 2005, his recreational interests have evolved into purposeful career endeavors. Let's welcome Lem Lover, an Atlanta-based professional photographer with a purpose and style of shooting to tastefully capture beauty and seduction. Originally from Richmond, Virginia, an Army veteran, he chose to settle in Atlanta to continue expanding his creative empire. Lem is also the published author of the book, Unselfish Women. Let's welcome Noire Rashawn Burge, a North New Jersey-based adjunct professor at Kean University, a history and special education high school teacher, and a documentary filmmaker. Next we have Tekka. Tekka is a Moorish-American rapper from Atlantic City, New Jersey. He moved to North Carolina in 2008, where he currently resides. This rapper is well known for his North Carolina State University Packapalooza performance, where he opened up for Scotty McQueen. Let's also welcome Ira Mallory, a writer, director, and producer based in Indianapolis, Indiana. Mallory started making films following the death of his mother, Barbara Jean Wilburn, to breast cancer, elevating his gifts in the visual arts to a professional level. Let's welcome Yashua Bishop L. He's a Moorish American artist, educator, mentor, and community activist. He was born and raised in Ohio and relocated to North Carolina in 2004, where he currently resides. With an educational background in criminal justice and sociology, L is a leading educator in more science and civics for the youth. Let's welcome Clownwood Hughes, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania-based writer. Hughes was born in New York, raised in New Jersey, and after traveling throughout the East and West Coast, has settled in Philadelphia. Let's welcome Nigel Finley, a Harlem, New York based artist and administrator currently working as a development associate at the Harlem School of the Arts. Let's welcome our moderator, Maya Simone. She is the founder and editor of Fruit of May, a digital lifestyle publication that celebrates Black women storytellers. Maya is a skilled journalist who inspires her readers to live passionately. Hey Maya, our moderator, what questions do you have for our panelists?
Next is we're going to go to our itinerary. We just had our introductions. We have a screening of Obstruction of Justice, the true meaning. We're going to take at least 2 minutes to watch. And once we come back, we want to hear a little bit from the panelists to hear what their take is on it.
Wow, this is going to be quite an interesting conversation. Now, let's get into the concept trailer for Obstruction of Justice, the true meaning. Roll that trailer. There are pressures encroaching on the freedoms and liberties of each and every individual that has been released from physical prison walls. The beginning of this situation did not begin with a singular action by any one individual. Instead, is resultant of a long list of choices that have been made for the individual. Choices aimed at maintaining him in a position of servitude and inaptitude. The result of the oppressive and conscienceless tactics used upon Black and brown bodies has produced a network of systems whose sole aim was to intimidate, isolate, and indoctrinate.
I didn't understand why back then, but now I see that he was just trying to protect us from being what they always see us as. And now I'm finally accepting that I am somebody, even though it's taken me a couple of tries to get it right.
However, this does not have to be the ultimate reality. It is our duty as citizens, neighbors, friends, and family to see to it that all persons have a fair chance at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For the unheard and the unseen, the discouraged and the downtrodden, let the cell be the launching pad and not your anchor.
A little bit more on that for us, just a little bit, and then we'll be able to go to a next guest just to get their perspective as well.
Innocence is the study that was written about, and it talks about Black boys as young as 10 not being viewed in the same light as their white counterparts, and how they're seen to be more violent, they're seen to be more troublesome, and they get in more trouble because of that. So the innocence of children, Black boys in particular, Black boys and Black girls, is removed at a young age where we normally wouldn't pay it much attention, but they are set on a trajectory from that age to the experiences that they will encounter for the rest of their life. They become conditioned to be used to getting in trouble.
It's very powerful, seriously, especially when you said their innocence has been removed from them, period. So we're going to actually go off to Joshua L. And I really want to talk to Joshua just to get his perspective. Joshua, so I understand that you have had some experience with incarceration. So if you don't mind, can you tell us, after watching that trailer, were you able to relate to that young man?
Yeah, very well familiar with what's going on with the situation. It kind of bring back memories of growing up as a child.
Okay. Because in the beginning, it looked as if he was a little bit frustrated. And you said it brought back some memories as a child. So a little bit you were able to relate with his frustrations, I would say.
Correct. It looks like you being a product of your environment. So you don't have an identity. You're trying to fit in with everybody else.
Do you believe that your environment, I would say I don't believe that, people are just bad people, you know what I'm saying? But do you think your environment has a major role to play when it comes to decision making?
Correct. You have to adapt to your environment. If it's shootings and killings continue to go on, you either have to learn how to stay out the way or you got to learn how to pick up a gun and shoot back. It's not the person or it doesn't identify your characteristics. It's just you're adapting to your environment. You're trying to survive in this concrete jungle they put you in.
I definitely understand. So either you adapt or you remove yourself from the environment.
I want us, well, we may be familiar, or we may not be familiar with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who wrote a book called The ISIS Papers. Now, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's mentor was Neely Fuller, Dr. Neely Fuller. So what they brought was a psychological and psychiatric sort of element in regards to slavery and the concept and how it affects our mentality. And what Dr. Neely Fuller spoke to a lot in regards to this boy element, right? This concept of constantly being treated like a boy since the plantation all the way up to now. Trailer is beautiful. Whenever you're dealing with 10-year-olds, and most of the demographics that we're dealing with, right? Sometimes Chris Rock makes a joke, old joke that he talks about, where you can find black people in pretty much the same places, and he talks about Chicago, LA, New York, Baltimore, in regards to where black people have pretty much migrated after the migrations from the south to the north into the different cities. And because we're in these urban areas and we deal with these sort of demographics, we're having to, like everyone stated, we're having to see things at a very early age, grow up faster than we should be. And but that shouldn't have anything to do with how the so-called, because we'll tend to say minority when we are the majority in the world, right? But so-called minorities are seen by white people or police officers. So it's very tough growing up in these environments. I remember when was mentioned in the bio, me moving from Hackensack, I was like, I think like 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old. I think 5 years, I can't remember. But I remember moving to Newark, and I think that first year I was there, I must have had, and I talk about this in my film, like they just had me fighting and fighting and fighting. I must have had about 20 fights. I think I had a fight with a kid, and then they saw that I knew how to use my hands, and so they actually were taking me around to fight people, right? This is part of the urban dynamic, and this is at like age 7 and 8. So these are the ways that we grow up, that other people, other ethnic groups, specifically whites, right? We're talking about mostly white people, whatever, don't have to grow up. Not to say that they don't have poor, disenfranchised, rough areas in the Ozarks and Arkansas and these other places. And sometimes I don't like for us to get that twisted in regards to them not having this very a lower economic poor class in certain areas of Mississippi and all over. But at the same time, they definitely don't go through this type of real serious gunplay, if you will, not even just the fighting and all of that stuff. Like we have to duck bullets. You know what I mean? So, and and I'll speak to that later. So I'll leave that there.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I really do appreciate that. We're going to move to Lim Lover.
Coming generations of kids that are coming up now, and just the things they are going to have to deal with. That I'm a '90s baby, so I came up with people being criticized. Oh, excuse me. For the smallest things, and just growing up in these times where you got your Trayvon Martins, and just being young is supposed to be. I kind of have to redefine how I feel about being how I've been when I was younger. and looking at things now and what I probably took for granted that, kids coming up now have to deal with, really looking at their backs more so than probably when I have grown up, and can't play with toys no more. Can't play with toy guns. You get shot, and honestly, it's just just looking at the video and just kind of hit on some heartstrings. Man, just some changes in the generation and the things that had to stop.
And that's very sad. Exactly what you said. You can't play with little toy guns anymore, especially if you're a black little girl or a black little boy, which actually took place. You can't run down the street anymore. It's totally insane. I get what you're coming from. So you're saying back in the day, your childhood, your memories of, being a young man and thinking about the young men and young women nowadays. It's sad because their youth is being removed and taken away from them, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, let's get ready to jam a little bit as we are going to see the live performance from Yashua, Tekka. I hope you guys are ready because we are excited to see this live performance of their hit record, Dying to Live.
Islam, 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 Islamism, Islamism. Yeah. Yashua, yeah. Allah, Allah, Father of the universe, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah, Allah, my protector, my God, my salvation, by night and by day, you're the holy prophet, true Ali, amen. I'm just floating when the wind gon' blow. I'm just wondering when the highs get low. Knowledge is power, keys to the soul. Truth is healing, don't let the hurt take control. Walking out the church into the tempo. I learned the sacred teachings, but this stuff ain't simple. Malcolm got popped like a face with a pimple because he took an oath, but he shed light before they sent him home. I'm not a Mason, just a Moor, so protect the throne. My elders say I know too much. Any Masons wanna hush me up, but I'm an Asiatic king and I don't follow much. Any queens love my leadership, they wanna go to lunch. I said let's build this empire, get this money up. I'm in tune with my ancestors, so I stay in touch. I'm in tune with my ancestors, so I stay in touch. And when they call my phone, that's when I pick it up. They tell me move along, because you have been touched.
Why must we die just to stay alive? I feel like I ain't lived, these the thoughts that's in my mind.
I'm an Asiatic angel, got my wings and I can fly. I'm on my spaceship with Swift Angel number 5.
Why must we die just to stay alive? I feel like I ain't lived, these the thoughts that's in my mind.
I'm an Asiatic angel, got my wings and I can fly. I'm on the spaceship with Swift Angel number 5.
Feeling secluded, fighting a mental natural disaster. A broken chapter, emotions shattered, hopelessness raptures. What am I after? Am I following my destined path? A legend grasp, protective grasp, magnetic tabs that I am connecting to each and every one of you lads. Majestic staff, I manifest my magician out. Specific routes, commitment shouts for me to stand. I will not falter, just push it harder within my harbors. Knowledge ascended, apprehended, life yes I must give it to this legend that has fallen deep inside the depths. I percept, hip hop protect, I promise yes. Tekka, I'm next, the full effect that I connect. My spirit aura, a light absorber, the music porter. Yes, I must energize, golden remembrance vibes, openly improvise, frequencies come alive. You get the waves, my music aims to be contained within the history. I'm making memories to be remembered, step in the center, then show the truth. Attach, produce a youthful seed, y'all must proceed. Detect the deans, vibrant personas, energy holders that I'm condoned to, like I'm supposed to do. Feeling some hope in you, striving to inspire the higher things that we can reach, cease to be unleashed. Just take this lesson, musical weapons, hip-hop's protection. Why must we die just to stay alive? I feel like I ain't lived, these the thoughts that's in my mind.
I'm an Asiatic angel, got my wings and I can fly. I'm on my spaceship with Swift Angel number 5.
Why must we die just to stay alive? I feel like I ain't lived, these the thoughts that's in my mind.
I'm an Asiatic angel, got my wings and I can fly. I'm on the spaceship with Swift Angel number 5.
Why must we die? Why must we die just to stay alive? Yeah, just to stay alive. Why must we die? Why must we die just to stay alive? Yeah, just to stay alive.
Wow, that was really awesome. Like, you guys did an amazing job. We're going to go into a brief intermission, but I want to take a moment, right, before we get into that and just soak it in, soak in the information that we've heard thus far, the perspectives that we have for this evening. And we'd like for you to go ahead and place in the comments, how did it feel watching the concept trailer? What did you think about the young actor who played the little boy, right? His name is Kasir. His real name is Kasir. And Kasir, I just want to let you know, baby, you did an excellent job, okay? It made me feel some type of way, When we think of the criminal justice system and we think of our people being entangled in this unjust criminal justice system, it tugs at your heart, So I'm gonna get my feels together, right, during intermission, and I encourage you, go ahead and get your feels together because we have a deep discussion in store with our amazing panelists. And so, yeah, I can't wait to see what it is that you guys, the feedback that you provide to us. Go ahead and place any questions you may have. There's going to be future engagement where the team may get to answer those questions for you. So go ahead and place those questions in, because when we are faced with things that maybe we don't fully understand or things that kind of tug at our hearts a little bit, it's okay to ask questions. You're supposed to ask questions. So with all the information that is being provided to you during this event, we want to know what you guys think, We want to know what you guys feel, okay? So take a moment, load that chat box up, okay? Get it all in, get it all out, get your feels together, go grab you another drink if you need to, a snack, use the bathroom, what have you. I'm Kashonda Marche. I'm your host. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to go get my feels together, like I said. We're going to take a brief intermission, and we'll be back to start the discussion.
How do you document real life when real life's getting more like fiction each day? Headlines, breadlines blow my mind and how do you stay on your feet when on every street it's trick or treat, and tonight it's trick? Welcome back to town, oh I should lie down, everything's brown and I feel sick. Where is he? Getting dizzy. How we gonna pay? How we gonna pay? How we gonna pay last year's rent? The music ignites the night with passionate fire. The narration crackles and pops with incendiary wit. Zoom in as they burn the past to the ground and feel the heat of the future's glow. How do you leave the past behind when it keeps finding ways to get to your heart? It reaches way down deep and tears you inside out.
humble, I'm cocky as hell. Shout out my bitches that answer my car when I call the collectors. It got me through hell. Shout out that jet that denied me my bell. It made me smarter, it made me go harder. They locked me up, it slowed my album up, but I did not give up cause I knew I would prevail. Came in the game, Philly as shit. Look at these rappers, they silly as shit. I don't know why they be guessing these suckers, but fuck them cause I am not feeling they shit. Different between me and most of these rappers, I'm talking about work that I really put in. Talking about pistols I put on my hip, and I'm talking about foreigns I really could whip, that I really done drove. Really was first in my hood, and these bitches I really did hit.
We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Here's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. To make a better day, just you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day, so let's start giving.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
We've been on a tragedy for months. Why can't you agree with me for once? Maybe we can be on chill tonight. Maybe I can give you chills too. We've been on a tragedy for months. Why can't you agree with me for once? Yeah, maybe we can be on chill tonight.
One time.
Maybe I can give you
Chill.
chills.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, I'm married to this gang, that's who I made my wife. Said I die alone, I told that bitch she probably right. One thing that's for sure, not a stranger to this life. Got a safe that's full of Franklins and a shoulder full of stripes. I don't know a nigga like myself. I say self-made, meaning I design myself. County jail fade, you can pull my foul yourself. Spot raid, swallow rocks, I'm getting high myself. Nah, and damn right I like the life I built. I'm from West Side 60, shit I might got killed. Standing so tall, they think I might got stills. Legendary baller like Mike, like Wilt. 96 Impala, thug life on wheels. Up against the wall, squabble at Fox Hills. Like a motherfucking boss, ask me how I feel. Successful street nigga touching them first meals. All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price.
You could be the king, but watch the queen come. Okay, first things first, I'll eat your brains. Then I'ma start rocking gold teeth and fangs. Cause that's what a motherfucking monster do. Hairdresser from Milan, that's the monster do. Monster Giuseppe Hill, that's the monster show. Young Money is the roster and a monster crew. And I'm all up in the bank with the funny face. And if I'm fake, I ain't know this cause my money ain't.
So let me get this straight, wait, I'm the rookie, but my features and my shows 10 times your pay. 50K for a verse, no album out. Yeah, my money's so tall that my Barbies gotta climb it. Hotter than the Middle East and climb it. Find it, 20 my Tyran, dirty wine it, wine it.
That's a unity. UNITY. Love a black man from Infinity to Infinity. Who you calling a bitch? UNITY. You gotta let them know. UNITY. Come on, here we go. UNITY. You gotta let them know. Black woman. You ain't a bitch, you're a hoe. Here we go. UNITY. You gotta let them know. UNITY. Come on, here we go. UNITY. You gotta let them know. You ain't a bitch, you're a hoe. Instinct leads me to another flow. Every time I hear a brother call a girl a bitch or a hoe, trying to make a sister.
Welcome back. I hope you guys had the chance to kind of get your woosah together. I know I did. But you know what I thought about during intermission? In regards to the trailer we just watched a little while ago? You know, the other little boy in the scene, his name is Caden. We don't know what happened to Caden, right? We seen him getting beat down and just left there, you know? It gets a little touchy when we witness these type of things, right? So we're gonna go ahead and get into the discussion, okay, and find out what we can find out because I can go on and on about this, you know, because again, when it tugs at the heart, I'm a mom, you know. I've had my run-in with people in my life, family even, that's entangled in this unjust criminal justice system. And so I can speak about this all day long, right? But we ain't got that kind of time, right? So we're going to go ahead and get into the discussion with our panelists and get their perspectives. And we'll get to see, you know, how we can piece these things together.
All right, so Tekka, in recent reports, COVID-19 may affect Black and Brown communities significantly worse than others. What are your thoughts on how the media portrays this health disparity when it comes to race?
Oh, well, as far as the media, I think they try to downgrade brown and black people the most, and also the media only shows what they want us to see, and they put fear in the minds of the people so they can be controlled. So they're just using this COVID-19 as a test run to control people and see how far they can get with it.
Tyler, can you talk to us about the perspective of this being a test run and how it's meant to control people when it comes to, you know, the media portrayal as well as, you know, what's happening with COVID-19 procedures and things of that nature?
Sure. Media is business. It thrives off of viewership. It thrives off of streams and whatever medium that you receive your media coverage through. It's fueled by something other than just sharing and disseminating information. So there's always an element to media that is going to try to draw in as many people as it possibly can. As far as genocide and extermination, that is one of the long-standing notes that we can take from colonialism, which became capitalism. The using up and the using of people, and then the elimination of them when they no longer serve your purpose for profit. So that has definitely played a role. As far as mind control, I have a few different outlooks to the extent that this is mind control. As far as vaccines, I do not trust vaccines, but I've heard a lot of things about the vaccines that I do not find to be necessarily the end all and be all of why they are trying to give us the coronavirus vaccine. I do believe that we over vaccinate in our society. I do believe that there are things that are contained in the vaccines that we're given that we do not need. But I also understand that for our bodies, in the way in which we have come to live, our disconnect from nature, our disconnect from the amounts of exercise that we need, there are certain things that we're not getting. So it's a lot that goes into it, and that goes back to those trade-offs. How far are you willing to go? What are you going to allow yourself to participate in? What end?
Okay. And so before we actually talk to another panelist, give me your take on masks. Comes to wearing the mask all the time, constantly, how again that's not really good for us, you know, to constantly wear it on your face. So when you go into different places like grocery shopping or wherever the different place may be, are you wearing a mask?
Yes, I'm wearing a mask. Masks, they do limit the amount of oxygen that you can take in, and a lot of masks that you get don't stop anything. But then you also look at the way that this virus is supposed to spread. If it's through droplets, then not necessarily the particulates that would spread through your respiratory, but your spit droplets. So people spit when they talk, and I don't want people getting close to me when I'm out. So I put one on, and I hope they have one on too. Because first of all, it stops them from spitting on me. Second of all, you know, some people just need it. So that definitely goes into it.
I'm not gonna lie. So when it comes to the social distancing, I wish it was like that a long time ago, especially in the grocery stores, you know, like get off my back, please, you know. But I definitely get what you're saying with the mask. And a lot of us choose to wear the mask and some of us choose not to. So what we're going to do is I really want to get to a few more questions. And, you know, the discussion is really good, you guys. So we're going to take it over to Lim Lover. So Lim Lover, how do you refer to an individual coming out of jail or prison? For example, do you refer to them as a felon, an ex-offender, jailbird? Maybe you have some other terms, but when it comes to referring to someone who just got out of jail or prison, how do you refer to them?
I mean, honestly, for me, people are who they say they are. I mean, the fact that they are felons, whatever, everybody out here got to work. And the more titles you have on you, you decreasing your chances of either finding work or people that are going to accept you to want to trust you. So it's not too much of a situation where, you know, my particular definition of what I call somebody, I don't know who I'm around or who may hear me. You know, I call people, you know, call people by their names. You know, their history, if we're in some type of communication, vicinity, whatever. I mean, I respect the man, I respect the woman. Also, what it is you came from ain't none of my business. You know, out here, you trying to do something right, you got to rebuild. So, you know, why would I make it harder for anybody else to call them other than what the parents gave them?
Respect the man, definitely. So I understand what you mean just by respecting the man. Okay. And that's very important, you know, not to disrespect people when they got out, you know, make sure you mention their name. And I really want to mention a very important question to you guys, and we're going to hand it off to your partner right next to you. We're going to talk to you. All right. So, Joshua, here's a question for you. What are ways that you have done? Okay. So, what are the ways that you have done your part to lower the recidivism rate? And when it comes to recidivism, for those of you watching, it is the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. So how have you played your part?
So basically, it goes back to identifying my brothers, sisters, or who they are. Gotta understand this system is a millennium corporation. So when you go into the prisons, you're considered as property, as well as when you break that down to a people. That's why I master in criminal law. Also, I studied the United States Constitution and Constitution of the Republic, and I do understand that our brothers, this is a system that they made for us. It's a system that they take us through, and they remove the male from the household. So it's the system is made for you to go back. It's a revolving door. So what I break down to my brothers is you have to remove yourself from being inside the circle, which is called the wrist. When you break down the people that prisons and jail is nothing but a business, it's a corporation. You have to break it down to them where it opens up their third eye. When you go to jail, they give you a bracelet with a barcode with your name in capital letters, which it means is a business. Anything that's in capitalization is capitalism, which is a business. And you're considered a ward to the state. What is a ward to the state? A ward to the state means your property to that capacity. So we have to free our people with showing them their true identity and showing them the solution. My solution to people is nationality is the order of the day, and making a diplomatic status correction, because right now you're considered as 3/5 of the human. You're considered as property, the product that's put on a shelf. We got to pay attention to the way they set these systems up. Know what I mean? When you go into a courtroom, the judge sit like he's God and he sends you off the way. You're a man. You must be submissive to the creators of the universe. So who put you in a position just to move people around? Like the brother said, it's nothing but a trade. You'll let the European go, but you'll get my man's 4 to 8 years. So you got to pay attention. It's like we went from slavery. They said we're free, but they put us into another system of enslavement. When you look inside the prisons, we are a majority of the people that's in the prison, but we're not the majority of the race inside America. So how do that look? Something don't balance out. There's no equality in that. How they balance out the number, they classify Mexicans as whites and everything is black, so it looks like it's 50-50. But really our people are being targeted. And once you show the people that they're being attacked and they set these traps up for you, and I let you know that you're aware of the situation at hand, I give you the directions to take a different route to go around. Not to be a criminal, but to find a new route. You sell drugs, start selling soaps, sell oils, car detailing. So you have to change the minds of our brothers and sisters and give them something. It's called giving them resources.
Do is, so we're going to ask you this question. You mentioned a little bit about, the judge and how he sits up high and what gives you the right, as a man. So let's talk about this. The Comprehensive Youth Justice Amendment Act of 2016 includes many different mandates, such as banning the use of juvenile life sentences without parole, and to allow for a sentence review for individuals who have served 20 years or more in prison for crimes committed as juveniles. Why do you think, Joshua, that some district attorney officers have failed to uphold this act by refusing to review juvenile cases?
Well, I'm going to say this, and I know for sure because I'm a certified community court advocate that was certified by the Superior Judge, the head DA, the Public Defender's Office Chief. Understand that white supremacy sit in their seats. And if you think that they care about our people, it's a lie. When you depend on somebody to support you or to get you out of legal trouble that don't know nothing about you, they not about to go back and spend more time to release you. Even if they could release you, they got better things they could be doing. I asked the district attorney, y'all make all this money in the court system. Where is this money going to? And she could not respond to my question. So it only says that if you was upholding the Constitution, then a lot of things will be done justified. But nobody's holding these people accountable. They sit in these seats and nobody's holding them accountable. So accountability means a lot. There will be a lot of people home behind that act. But is it any DAs that's looking into it? No. Why? Because their dockets are like this. And they worried about giving out pleas whether they're guilty or not, or rather it's substantial evidence. So we have to pay attention who sits in these seats. As far as the judicial system, is it our people or is majority of their people? Their people are sentence our people. Are they looking into our juvenile's case? No, he's just another Negro. Pass it on. I'll deal with it later. Put it on the back burner. Okay, that's a European. Let's see what's going on. Let's get him to the parole board. So it's a racist thing that's been going on. Even Malcolm X said equality is a must in building up economic. So we have to hold these people accountable, and it starts with our people unify and pushing law and making these people obey. Because one thing our people got to understand, nobody is above the law. The DA, the judge, the lawyer, nor is the citizens. So you have to hold everybody accountable to the laws of the land. And that comes with us unify and applying the pressure and holding these people that sits in these positions thinking they oversee the community as God. They need to be held accountable for their actions.
Tyler, let's talk a little bit about what Joshua mentioned, especially the accountability part. So with that question that I just asked about why do you think some district attorney officers have failed to uphold this act or refusing to review, the juvenile cases, he mentioned that, we should hold them up for accountability. What are your thoughts?
What is because we have to build a framework for accountability, because they are being held accountable. That's how they keep their jobs, because they're getting a check mark and a pass for what it is that they're doing. So we're dealing with building another framework to hold them accountability, which relies on enfranchisement, which is the rebuilding of the disenfranchisement that we have undergone over the centuries of this system, this experiment that they call America. So that's one of the major pieces to doing that. So they don't do it because who do they have to answer to if they don't?
Can you give me a little bit of insight of, you said accountability is everything and it depends on how we examine, holding them accountable, because with their jobs, they are being held to an extent, accountable. But when it comes to the citizens, how do you see, like, how does that look in real life, holding, someone of that power accountable?
There's a couple of ways to do it. The first way is we have to get more of our people involved in the crafting of legislation and policy. There's a lot of money that goes into writing legislation to benefit specific individuals. Whether you want to look at this one or you want to look at something more recent, and I use different examples to bring it out from the topic so that we can look at it with a different set of eyes, with a different lens. When we look at the payroll protection program, that was not written for the people that they said that it was written for, and it went to the places that it was designed to go to. So then when we come back to the criminal justice system and we look at an act like this one, and we're asking, how is it that so many people are still behind bars? It's because what it was sold to us as is not what it actually was. And we have to get into the act with all of the provisions, with all of the dog ears that get in there to see what that bill actually does beyond what it says that it does.
Lim, if you will, can you please talk to our viewers and give them, your thoughts in general about, COVID-19 as well as the criminal justice system here in the United States?
With just in general, I think it's an issue that I feel, this is just my straight up opinion, just fighting for equality is a waste of time. And as far as the community, it's the community that needs fighting for. It's the unification of how we can tackle these problems, from economics to healthcare. Our economic impact, it will be a first thing, but like the brother said, knowledge is the biggest part that will tackle the majority of these issues. But with the lack of unity amongst the community, because if you look at any other race group, especially, for example, just Jewish community, and how their money is tied into everything, even when it comes to their deaths. Just like a couple of our clients that I have that are Jewish nursing homes, they set up from the jump to they don't pay for anything by the time it's necessary for them to be taken care of at old age or whatever. So as a community, in the Black community, where we're not set up financially literate to, as either young adults, to make moves for our children even and after our passing and things of that nature. So like I said, at the end of the day, it all comes back to the lack of knowledge and the lack of unity, where if there was more unity, we'd probably care less about wanting to be equal if we could take care of our own people.
Okay, everyone, your girl Kashonda here, and I'll be moderating for these next panelists whom we haven't heard from yet. I hope you've had a chance to kind of recollect yourselves because we're going to get right back into it. You guys ready?
You're still going to deal with that. You're still going to deal with ethnocentrism. I don't want to call it tribalism. You're still going to deal with ethnocentrism from other ethnic groups. That's inevitable. But you're
Yeah.
still going to get so much love. When I went there, and when people go there, people who are living there from the Caribbean and from America, they get so much love. They have their issues. It's not perfect. It ain't kumbaya, but
Yeah.
because you're dealing with, again, certain things with regards to ethnocentrism. But as they all say, and even in my personal experience, I haven't lived there, but I've spent some time there. It's just different when it's all black, all African, all black people running the government, the money, the where you're eating. Like, it's just a beautiful experience, and I encourage everyone to travel to the continent and travel to Jamaica first. Even if you haven't been to the Caribbean yet, going to Jamaica. People always say you're gonna go to Africa, maybe go try Ghana, but go to Jamaica first because it's definitely very similar in
I'm gonna
regards to.
keep that in mind. I'm gonna go into one of these questions since we on the topic of Africa. And recently, right, it has been reported that clinical trials are being explored for the continent of Africa during this pandemic, right? Given the continent's trauma and history of strict resources, how do you feel about the trials being done in the African countries?
Are you talking about the vaccines, specifically the vaccines?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should totally reject that notion, only because if they're using mercury and these specific agents or different things in these vaccines, and it takes what do they say, 5 to 15 years to actually create a real vaccine that works. I don't think, it's tough because I know they may need the resources, meaning, monies and funding for whatever to do that. Like any situation where, people are going to get paid for something, it's tough. But I think that the dignitaries and presidents and should reject that notion because of get more research, if anything, first. But I wouldn't trust that. You know what I mean? Because we already know here with the not even just the Tuskegee experiment, but all these experiments, how the history has been in South Africa and in South America, in the Caribbean and then here. So we know what these people do. WHO and IMF and World Banks, et cetera, et cetera. So we shouldn't trust that.
Clownwood, you have any? Thank you for that, Noire. Clownwood, do you have anything to add in regards to your thoughts on the clinical trials that they pushing?
I got to be honest with you. This is actually the first time I've heard about that. If you go back and watch this later, the moment you say it, my reaction is right on here. Like this is the first time I've heard about that. But the sad part about it is I'm not even surprised.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
Yeah. So let me say this, Clownwood. This is a social for justice, right? We here to live, love, learn, it's part of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just all about, us teaching or, sharing to our viewers that may be watching, but we also get to learn from one another. You know what I'm saying? We also get to learn from one another. I know for sure already, just from the short time I done spent with y'all, I done learned a whole lot, And that's what it's about. It's all good. It's all good.
And I think it should be rejected. I don't, not even just, it's a no-brainer that it should be, because to be perfectly honest, nothing good comes to mind when I think about that. As my mind is going through it right now, I don't even think it's 100% what they're saying it is. Right. They're never going to tell us the truth. They'll tell us one thing and get us paying attention to the left hand, and we're completely unaware of what the right hand is doing. Yeah. And that is we should never go into something like that. And knowing that that's how they operate. Why? Because they have a history of operating like that. No, shouldn't trust that. Nothing good is going to come with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your honesty and your, authenticity. That's what this space is about. Just be you. You know what I mean? Nigel, do you have anything to add to that? Because I have another question that I'm going to get started with you. But before I move on, would you like to, chime in?
Yeah. I agree with the rest of them. I think that the leaders should reject it because we have always kind of been used as guinea pigs or things to take resources from, and in our even our lives are a resource, and that's something that's being experimented with, and I don't really. It seems interesting, but I don't know if I'm like pessimistic about it, but I don't know my full history and all my knowledge about the current political struggle, political situations in Africa, but I do know that there have been other countries that are still have much influence in Africa and in many countries in Africa, working with leadership, and it saddens me that if this is going on, it saddens me that I think that the leadership of those countries are actually, I don't know the truth, or I don't know the actual things that are going on, but I fear that the leadership is in on this and is actually the ones working with the Chinese or something like that to implement these kind of trials for money, for their benefit, because like Nuari talked about, they've been indoctrinated with these kind of European mindset of extortion and of using people. So that's just my quick thoughts on it.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's much appreciated. Thank you for that. So let me ask you, what are your views on opening the country economy more than it has been during this quarantine?
It's weird because there's certain places in the country that are more open right now than right now in Jersey and New York. For example, Georgia. I had a friend who was just in Georgia last week. He said that they were able to have dinner at a restaurant, and things are moving. And I do think economics are important, but I do think safety is of the utmost importance. And if we're going to open the country more and more, there need to be very clear procedures that are going to go into keeping people safe, especially people of color, because we've been here, we've been out exposed, we've been working as essential workers, and now to just open us up to more people would just be it could be harmful. So I would want there to be a really clear plan by our leadership, which probably won't happen.
That's a whole nother conversation, right? Ira, do you have anything to add to that before I get to one last question I want to ask you guys? Do you have anything that you want to offer the viewers about your thoughts on opening up, the country or the economy more than it already has been?
Oh yeah, I think Nigel really hit it on the head when he talked about how we'll be on the front lines as Black people with these occupations of which you're in direct contact with people who may have COVID-19. So I think it should be a very slow and careful reentry to our economy, reentry to the normal, and with everyone's, safety and health in mind, especially ours. We have to advocate for that. But just to quickly swing back to the vaccine question about Africa and the vaccine, I'll say this in jest. I think that we should test the vaccine on all of these Trump supporters, because I'm in Indiana. This is Trump country. All these people who say that COVID-19 is fake and it ain't real. It's like you have nothing to lose. So why don't you be the guinea pig? But it's funny, but not funny. How people will go. Just several weeks before what's been going on now in protests with guns in the state house because they can't go get a haircut, they can't get out the house, but they're angry with us for protesting over the death of a man. And I think it just demonstrates the value system of the people that we've lived with for 400 years that put more value on money and property and economic success than the value of people's lives. I think it's an indictment on the country's value system, and the world can't see the contrast and see what we've been dealing with just looking at those two situations. Then I don't know what to tell them.
And what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and take a couple of questions or comments from the audience thus far. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a couple, and just to get you guys on it. We have, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Miyoshi, Los Angeles, who says, justice system, I have a lot to say. I just want to be fair. Criminal is criminal, not color. As far as COVID, I hope that people are able to live and not just survive the situation. Living and surviving are two different things. They continue to say, people, please have solutions. Okay. So Miyoshi says that there's a lot to say when it comes to the system. Anyone have any thoughts on that comment from Miyoshi?
You don't really want to live, you just so happen to make it through. But living is meaning you're actually going to try and live and do what you want to in life, accomplish your goals and your dreams. So that's what I thought that statement could mean.
After hearing the song, first thing that comes to my mind is having to accept the fact of, my own mortality. You kind of question everything. Just the moments of something simple, the simplest thing, going to a store, going to the doctor. It's just, there's so many things piled up against us that when you start to come of age and you actually start to take in how your environment is set up for you, and you have to come to the realization, every Black man comes to the realization that there's nothing you can do. There's not a lot that you can do. There's these things that you're subjected to, and how are you going to traverse life to live a little bit longer?
I'm sure the viewers would like to know.
Yeah.
What are all your thoughts on gentrification? So go ahead, Noire, you started off. 1 minute, bro.
All right. So absolutely, that would be great. Because these areas are beautiful areas, and me, being raised in Newark and living in Brooklyn and this whole area, I'm familiar with this whole region, and those are nice areas for them to move into in transition. Most importantly, is economics and education. Will they be able to pursue anything that they would like to pursue academically, and what types of transitional jobs for them, and if they have a family, and what will the housing look like. But even being in that area, even if it is because I don't believe there's any really dilapidated housing in the area. I've been all through there. And so anything that would be whatever in a lower economic status is going to be decent and nice and going to be able to move them forward. How will they be treated by the population? Will they be on some type of website that these people are here and now they're getting treated messed up? So these are the things that I'm concerned with, because I've been through Millburn, Westville, all those areas. And so yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Clown, would you have anything to add as far as gentrification goes?
I personally, I think and this is a really quick point to the question earlier. I've never thought the way that the criminal justice process, any of that has ever worked. I don't think it's right to put like some lightened criminals with hardened criminals and say, here, I'm gonna scare you, reform them. To change someone's life in a positive way is to change their environment and show them like areas like that, beautiful parts, and because that can, I've seen some beautiful things, and man, if like I just came from Colorado, and stepping out my house every morning and looking at those mountains, never having seen mountains, that's beautiful, and you can just sit there and then just it's a peace. So
Great point, brother. Great point.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think putting them in a new area and where they can like, I think it's a great idea. I think it should be. I think it should happen. Absolutely.
Okay. Viewers, before I get to you, Nigel, viewers, if you have any thoughts or anything in regards to placing transitional housing within these areas as being gentrified, please drop them in the comments. We'd love to know your thoughts on this as well. Nigel, go ahead and 1 minute chime in on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that environment is very important, and I think that it like really changes the way that you perceive your day and if you wake up and the sun is shining, you might it may change the day. Whereas opposed if it's raining. So like same thing if you walk outside and you're able to see clear streets and not broken up sidewalks and just different things that these areas have. That and resources that they have. It's good to be surrounded by beautiful things. I mean, I don't know, that's not the right word to use, but just a nice area. I do think though it is important, like you said, for that person to have a community and to be accepted. Yeah. And not seen as this, not be seen as these like, oh, these are the criminals over here who live at this, in this thing, I just that's what worries me. But as long as they're treated the right way,
yeah,
and accepted, then yeah, I think it's necessary.
Yeah, brother.
Yes,
you have any to this level?
I do. As I said at the beginning, my uncle is incarcerated now, and there'll come a time when it's time for him to enter society, and we have this thing the commentators call the black tax, where we as the black people in the family that have the resources, we are responsible for our family members. My brother, for instance, God rest his soul, when my uncle was previously incarcerated, when he was released, he went and stayed with my brother. My brother provided him housing. And so these are the things that we have to deal with. And so absolutely, transitional housing is a must. I'm also someone of the Elijah Muhammad mindset that we deserve reparations and land in the first place. And so I absolutely believe that, these brothers and sisters deserve that opportunity to have housing, because again, by the overwhelming majority, what happens when they're released is that we, as their family members, become responsible for that very thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for all offering your perspective on, if transitional housing should be in these more affluent, if you will, areas. What it sounds like is that environment is important to our well-being. Community acceptance is important to our well-being. So thank you for that. You guys have been quite a delight to hang out with. We're going to end with, just want to say thank you. Thank you all for spending this time with us. Thank you, viewers, for spending this time with us. You guys, don't believe the hype. You know what I'm saying? It's like my last message to you. Stay strong, keep strong, Continue to take care of our sisters out there. Thank you all for attending this virtual event, A Social for Justice. Live, love, laugh, and learn. I sure hope that you got to do all of those, right? Our panelists, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Again, we want to thank you for being present. Thank you for sharing your experiences and your perspective with us. I feel all your vibes through these screens and devices. Don't forget, the connection we all have with and to each other can't ever be put on lockdown forever. You have to make the effort though, right? In the most conscious way, especially now. Wear those masks, gloves, practice your social distancing, and sanitize. And if you're among those that don't have the privilege to practice those practices and those steps fully, get to know who you are around and who they are around. Abandoning the strangers we don't know is what led us into this pandemic in the first place. Let's come out of quarantine caring more, judging less, building each other up more, and competing less. Compassion, people. Compassion. Looking for ways to strengthen your skills or maybe learn a new one? Connect with Obstruction of Justice, the true meaning. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and then tell another friend. We'll catch you at the next Social for Justice event, the #1 virtual event where you get to live, love, laugh, and learn amongst ourselves right from where we are. I'm your host, Kashonda Marche, and it's been an absolute pleasure sharing this time with you. Have a great one wherever you may be in the world. I'm sending love and light to you and your family. Let's get into this song. It's called Dying to Live. We're going to bring the mood up a little bit as we close out and get ready to get up out of here. Peace.
Islamism. Yeah. Joshua. Yeah. Allah. Father of the universe. Father of the universe. Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice.